Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Well, we got a little bit of a Sunday night pump here in the world of crypto, led by Bitcoin, but of course, XRP, not surprisingly, came along for the ride, getting just a hair shy of 54 cents here. Now, by the time you're watching this, I'm sure for many of you, it will be early Monday morning, so we'll see if this thing persists or not. But a few things to talk about in this video. Briefly, I'm going to discuss historically what's happened with the Russell 2000, which of course is an index of small cap stocks. That's important because we have never had an alt season without seeing an increase in the breadth of the market, meaning small cap stocks ultimately getting snatched up, getting purchased. Also want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin because one of the analysts that I follow who has an incredible hit rate in terms of accuracy, including on the short term, continues to warn that we could see Bitcoin tank into the 40,000s. But I'm only seeing that from one analyst, so I don't know if he's right. I don't know if he's wrong. I'm not going to bother with the prediction. I'm just going to share it with you. And I'm particularly interested because he does have such a high hit rate. Now, he doesn't have insane conviction about this, but he does think that it's an actual path that could be forward. And then I want to spend a good bit of time talking about XRP specifically. I've actually got perspective from several different XRP chart analysts. And what's highlighted here, well, a number of things, not the least of which is, like, what happened recently was just an XRP trap. It was a sell trap, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. But every analyst that I follow that tracks XRP believes that XRP absolutely is going to be blasting off, hitting new all-time highs, certainly melting faces, and in fact, some analysts think that we're going to be seeing an impending uptrend much sooner than later. So we'll talk about the timeline as well. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I am just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun, damn it. And if you don't like it, well, you can just get out. Now, as I record this video, it is 1:05 a.m., so technically it is Monday now, but I don't really count it as Monday until I go to sleep and wake up. But fine, technically it is Monday, October 14th, 2024, 1:05 a.m. Central Time here in the good old Midwest in the United States where I live. XRP at 53.6 cents, almost hit 54 cents as Bitcoin was leading the market to the upside. Bitcoin currently $63,867, and it did break 64K though. It got up to $64,405. Crypto Fear and Greed Index 48 out of 100, so market feeling neutral. But if this continues, won't be surprised to see that number a fair bit higher, in 48 out of 100. So what about the small caps? Let's just tackle this in order. We're going to talk about the Russell 2000, then Bitcoin, and then I'm going to spend a lot of time specifically talking about XRP. Got some good stuff for you here. But even if you don't hold any stocks, like say you're all in crypto, which I'm not. I like to be more diversified than that. But even if you are, you should still care about what's happening in the stock market because, yes, of course, there's correlation. But specifically, when you're talking about small cap stocks, I mean, in ways it's equivalent in the way that they're treated to altcoins. So as investors get comfortable investing further out the risk curve, they start purchasing smaller cap stocks. And at the time when you see that, historically anyway, you see an increased appetite for altcoins, including our beloved XRP, of course. And so this all happens at the same time. And so here is a post shared by Seth Golden, who is a hedge fund consultant and chief market strategist at Finham Group. And this chart is titled Election Years, RTY, which of course is the Russell 2000 Index, RTY Seasonal Composite, July 1st through December 31st, 1979 to present. And so what it's showing here is the second half of a calendar year, dating back to 1979, but only for election years, and then it averages out what the performance of the Russell 2000 has been during that time. That's what you're looking at here. And so what's fascinating, because of course, history doesn't literally repeat, but it does kind of rhyme with itself here. And by the way, so he did post this on October 3rd. I just hadn't seen it until now. So he says, you are here, and that was October 2nd. But look at this green line. Election day, November 5th. Now, you may have noticed, if you're looking at the screen, that after that, you see the Russell 2000 break substantially to the upside. So the fact that the Russell 2000 has been lagging behind here and we haven't seen a crazy alt season yet, it's not weird, it's not wacky. And I have told you that many times, there is historic precedent for the stock market taking off, which it certainly has. It's been performing this year, even if it's only been a handful of stocks. And then having the Russell 2000, the small caps, catch up whether it's 10, 11, 12 months later. Like, there is historic precedent for that. That has happened before. It seems like we're in that type of environment right now. And so if history is going to kind of rhyme with itself, then, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm not going to predict whether or not October itself ends up being green for the Russell 2000 or the stock market or crypto. To me, it doesn't matter. I just want exposure to all this stuff because I know eventually it's going to flip green and we get into extreme greed. But Q4, I certainly feel comfortable just speculating that we're going to have a green Q4. For the stock market, for crypto, and highly likely specifically for the Russell 2000. I will not be surprised if indeed that is the case. And so, the market, frankly, doesn't tend to care. And there's data on this. I'm not going to go in depth in this video, but the market doesn't really care if a Democrat or a Republican is elected president. The market tends not to. It performs about the same regardless. But what the market does not like is uncertainty. And so it makes sense that once the election's over, regardless of who wins, the market just wants to know so it can behave however it thinks it needs to behave. But leading up to that, there's this uncertainty, and that's why speculators aren't perhaps as interested historically. I mean, look at what data going back to 1979, it's on your screen. That would be why you're seeing what you're seeing. But once there is that certainty, they do know who, and the market does know, who's going to be in charge, what the administration is going to look like, then the money flows in. So if that's the case, and if we're going to have history kind of do the same thing here again, I'll not be surprised. But I'm telling you, the amount of money that's going to flow into crypto once we have this certainty, I speculate that it's going to be absolutely wild. I think what's most probable, based on tons of different data points and from a historical perspective, is we're going to see a crazy blow off top. We are going to see XRP hit a new all-time high. We are going to see price discovery. We're going to see the face melt season. Finally. But of course, in the short term, just a warning from one of my favorite chart analysts out there, Credible Crypto. He's warning that there's a reasonable chance you could see Bitcoin in the 40,000s before we see that melt up, before we see new all-time highs for Bitcoin and XRP and everything else. So again, I don't know if he's going to be proven to be correct or incorrect. Don't know. He thinks it's something that could happen. He's not saying this is a 100% chance, but here's a Bitcoin USD chart. And, just literally a couple hours ago, it was 11:05 p.m., he posted the following. He said, getting a bit of a short squeeze here on lower time frame, but nothing has changed. Zooming out a bit, we are still basically chopping around. Both green and blue path outlined earlier are still in play. I've added an orange/yellow box to the original chart to show where I think we could see another interim bounce. Other than that, plan remains the same for now, expecting a rejection soon. So again, we'll see if he's right. We'll see if that actually gets hit. Just sharing this just in case it happens. And by the way, like I said at the outset, he's the only analyst I follow that is saying this, but that doesn't mean he's wrong. Sometimes a minority opinion absolutely can be correct, and given his hit rate, I'll not be surprised if that's the case. So I want to highlight it so that just in case that does happen, you don't have to flip out, okay? Because even if it happens, he's telling you, yeah, okay, fine, break to the downside. Ultimately, still, yes, new all-time highs. Nothing changes on a higher time frame, meaning big picture. So we'll see here. Here's a post from chart analyst Blunts. It says, the Bitcoin clears 65,000 again here. It's game on. Oh, and I laid out this game plan in advance last month for those who paid attention. So he's saying that's a key level to look at. And I've seen levels around there cited, like some analysts will say 65, some will say $66,000, but typically around there. But once that happens, it's going to make it much more plausible, or probable even, that we're going to see Bitcoin finally hit a new all-time high. There's also this post from Charting Guy, and he says, Bitcoin possible pullback will be invalidated if the 4-hour RSI closes up here as expected. As I've been saying on every lower time frame update, the higher time frame looks amazing. Never expect a pullback. Now that is finally coming to fruition. That small dip earlier could easily be all we get. And so he has been vocal about this. He has openly disagreed respectfully with Credible Crypto. He does not think we're going to see that breakdown getting into the 40,000s. Here's a post from chart analyst Jelly. He says, it's about Bitcoin here. Says everything is still going according to plan to push beyond $66,000 and new all-time highs are next. There's also this from chart analyst Dr. Magic speaking about XRP and the dino coins out there. You ever get tired of the toxic Bitcoin maximalists out there saying that XRP, it's just not going to go? Look, it's just a dino coin. Its time has passed. Nobody's actually interested. It's not going to hit a new all-time high. All this crap here. And it's because it's a dino coin. And then I sit here thinking, this is Rich coming from the toxic Bitcoin maximalists. Oh my God, these actual idiot sticks. Bitcoin is the dino coin of dino coins. You functional idiots. What the hell is wrong with you? That is the oldest coin in existence. 15 mother flipping years old. Are you kidding me? So because it's old, its dino is bad? Like, what is your actual logic here? And then you look at that, and you look at the technical functionality of XRP compared to Bitcoin. I'm like, it's like pulling teeth here, trying to just get some rational thoughts through to these people. But look, as it pertains to the dino coins, to think that just because they're old, they can't do number go up is completely ridiculous. Then how did Bitcoin do number go up? How is it worth so much compared to 2017 when I jumped into crypto? Or way before I jumped into crypto? 2015, 2014, so on and so forth, 2013. Because, look, this is how humans treat technology. Like, once there's a standard in place, it is very hard. You have to have a big change for a technology to be supplanted. And it can happen. But if you're talking about XRP specifically, once it's functionally useful and it's got not literally the first mover advantage, but it's one of the first movers ever and one of the first coins ever, right? And so given that is indeed the case, and it just is. Like, to think that you could easily supplant XRP in terms of the actual utility is ridiculous. And so then, given that's the case, as more money flows into the space and price catches up with value, where do you think a chunk of that's going to go? I'm certainly thinking XRP. And Dr. Magic gets this, chart analyst Dr. Magic. Here's what he had to say. I've made my case, and it has to be pretty clear by now to everyone that I think that in this business cycle, we will conclude the larger cycle that Bitcoin has been in since 2019. My thesis is dino coins greater than 2019 launched coins, greater than new coins. To be transparent, I own all three categories, but new coins are the smaller percent of my portfolio. My main dino bag is XRP, biggest bag. And I'll just pause and note, that's certainly true for me as well. That's my largest individual crypto holding. Then he says, I own a lot of 2019 coins and a few new coins plus memes to hedge my thesis. To answer your question, I think all three categories will do a 10 to 20x since I expect the biggest alt season since 2018. Well, you know what? I'll not be surprised if that is indeed the case. I think by the time this cycle's done, as long as we have an actual proper alt season, I think that XRP will just be proven to have stolen the show. It has been so suppressed, it's worth currently, in terms of price, way less than it would otherwise be. I think the market's going to catch up. That's my speculation. There's also this post from a chart analyst named 50 Inverted, who I wasn't familiar with until the other day, but a number of the analysts that I do follow shared this post from him, so I thought I'd share it with you. I'm not sure what his track record is, so maybe I'll kind of watch for this in the future, but he had an interesting take here, and he said, and I got XRP USD chart on the screen here, he says, we are at an important zone, fighting with 200 SMA, daily break it, and teleport to 80 cents. Should follow the crypto market on the way up, no matter what boomers say at the SEC, pump it. So I certainly agree with that sentiment. I don't care what happens with the SEC. That's just a narrative. Everything is fine. XRP is legal clarity. The SEC had minimal power to cause the price of XRP to drop. It dropped for 90 minutes, and then it just moved sideways and then up after that appeal news broke over a week ago. Not worried about that in the least. It does not matter here. And so, you know, it's like I was saying a second ago, to think that Bitcoin can go up, the dinoest of dino coins, but XRP can't, is completely ridiculous and unreasonable. Of course XRP can go up and hit a new all-time high. It sure as hell ain't going to stay here forever. What do you think's more likely? New all-time high, or just goes to zero and we're done here? Like, that doesn't compute because we see more and more actual adoption with XRP. Why would you ever think it would go to zero? It doesn't make sense. And I say it like that because one of those things will happen. It goes to zero or a new all-time high. One of those things will happen. You know my bet, folks. Number go up. There's this post from, a chart analyst, the great Matsby, and he says, for those worried about XRP, did you know it's just continuously building a base on top of the June 2019 high? Nothing bearish about that, and all of these fib levels have been working out perfectly as well. Also known as resistance flipped support. And so you can see, for those of you looking at the screen anyway, you can see what he's pointing at here. This is 2019, and then he's pointing where we are now. And he's saying the resistance has become support. And certainly this is the trend that we've seen. I mean, fine. I mean, we all wish that the price of XRP were higher, but damn, it bottomed in June of 2022 at 28 cents. It's been heading up. And for the last several months, it has been outperforming the broader crypto markets, including Bitcoin and ETH. Just wait till we see true expansion in a proper alt season. My God, we finally gonna get ours. It's just we can't control what happens when it happens. We either have exposure or we don't when it occurs. But I've never been this. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. Like, I've never been this excited and optimistic as an XRP holder. I never have, not to this degree. And it's because everything is lined up. This is the moment in time. And whether that means tomorrow, next month, or early next year, or whatever it ends up being, fine. It is at hand regardless. And there's this post from the Crypto Basic. XRP could reach $4 to $6 as it only dropped to 51 cents after SEC appeal compared to 70% crash in 2020. Okay, so there's a couple reasons I wanted to highlight this, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I wanted to make a point here. It was nice to see that they're saying something that I have been saying since the appeal news broke. Like, it did almost no damage. Again, XRP, it went down precipitously in price for 90 minutes. Like, you could see from the moment that news broke, down, 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 it looked like XRP price fell off a cliff just visually, but it only went down a few cents. You know, it was about somewhere in the neighborhood of 5%, went from like 56 cents to 53 cents, and then, you know, a little higher, a little lower, moved around. But that was it. It was 90 minutes of a drop. Whereas in 2020, when the lawsuit the dropped from the SEC against Ripple, that was a straight up week of selling. And I know they said 70% here, and maybe they're correct, and I could be mistaken, but I think it's actually probably closer to 75 cents, unless I'm mistaken. Because I know XRP got down to 16 cents on at least some exchanges, and I thought it was a little over 60 cents. So, I mean, if it was less than that, maybe they're right, and it was 70%. But that's a big drop. And for this, we only saw 5%. So it's just nice to see that this is acknowledged. So we know that. I feel great about this. There is nothing to hold back XRP this market cycle. So if we're going to have an alt season, yes, it's going to participate. I mean, hell, think about it. XRP last cycle, even with XRP basically being treated as if it's a leper, because of the SEC lawsuit, it still did a 20x last cycle. Think about that. That's insane. It went from 10 cents to $2 from the bottom to the top of the cycle. Still a 20x. With the lawsuit hanging over everyone's head. Now that is not the case, and XRP has been relisted on all the exchanges in the United States, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go berserk here. And so take a look at this. I do want to read this part. It's just the tail end of the article from the Crypto Basic. XRP to $4 or $6. The resilience XRP has shown amid the latest legal action has instilled confidence in proponents regarding XRP's potential to rally to $6 soon. Market pundit Bobby A. is among those holding this view. In the commentary, he warned that the SEC's appeal notice is a sell trap, predicting that XRP will reach $4.23. Bobby A. believes the macro charts remain bullish and argues that sell the news behavior often leads investors to miss opportunities. Exactly, folks. I don't buy and sell based on news, about 0% of the time. Now, there could be some exceptions to that, but not many. Certainly not many. I just like to have my exposure. And I'm not doing it, by the way. Like, for me, I haven't to that. When I buy something, I just have it. That's that. For better or worse, and either it's going to be worth a fortune and I sell it, or it's not, in which case, okay, too bad, so sad, whatever. But I don't care, because I'm going to have X number of winners, whatever that ends up being, and then some stuff, maybe it never goes up enough and I never even sell it, and then maybe it does go to zero, some of the stuff I hold. That could happen. I don't care. I just need some winners. And I already have a number of winners because I've been in the space for almost 7 years. I mean, Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, there's all sorts of stuff I've been holding for so long. And oh my God, so much of it is worth so much more than what I paid for it. So this is how it is when it comes to investing. Like, you let time do the heavy lifting, because more money flows into the space, number go up. That's it. Anyway, piece continues though. Meanwhile, an analysis has suggested that XRP could even rise to $6 in the near term. After hitting a low of 17 cents amid the lawsuit in December 2020, XRP later rallied 1,021% to $1.96 by April 2021. Factoring a similar percentage increase on XRP's recent low of 51 cents amid the appeal notice, it could rally up to $5.72, approximately $6, as early as January. However, the likelihood of history repeating itself remains uncertain. Right, so in terms of the percentages, I understand that it's harder to get, once there's more money like in something, it's harder to get that type of percentage gain. But XRP was so artificially suppressed, I think it's totally plausible that could happen. I don't know if it's going to, but that is not insane. In fact, if anything, I mean, that strikes me, it just sounds to me, and I could be wrong, I'm just a dude on the internet, nothing special about me. It sounds a bit conservative. Sounds really super conservative to me, to be honest. And so, and even though I do believe that, I'm still going to play, I plan to scale out between $5 to $8. I've explained many times why, so I'm not going to do that again in this video. But I still think that's conservative. It's just that I'm going to take the risk off the table for me. But yeah, I still think that probably is going to be proven to be a bit conservative. And maybe not. I could be wrong, but that's just my suspicion. But, that news, man, it was just a sell trap. He's so right. And this is exactly what I've been saying. And so everything else, all these indicators still suggest an impending uptrend. Yes, look at how XRP is actually behaving. It's not going to stay here forever. It keeps being further and further adopted in the real world. And I'm telling you, if something is not sufficiently valued, markets do eventually figure that out. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.